Thursday, June 14th, 2018, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. This morning I want to talk about the state, the fiction that it is, about a book that I think is a book that if I had to choose to only have one book, it would be this one, The Law by Frederick Bastiat. It's only 76 pages long, but I think it's you need to read this. It's really important, in my opinion. And you'll understand why I'm going to talk today about the fact that fiat money really is an instrument of legal plunder. And what is legal plunder? Well, I'll get into that after I look at what the markets are doing this morning. It's just past 8:30 a.m. here in London. And the other thing I'd say, I know I have those flags over there. They represent states, Canada, United States, United Kingdom. But it just goes to show how deeply ingrained the concepts are in our lives. And does it mean that I believe in the organizations of the state and the legal plunder that they perform? No, but it just identifies locations nowadays. For me, that's what it is. Doesn't mean I'm into governments. Because and you'll see why when I talk about this book. But first, let's get to the markets. So spot gold is finally traded above 1300. We are at 1302.50 right now, up $3. The range has been 1297.50 to 1303.80. We really need to get back above 1308, which has been the recent high, as you can see here, and that would really help gold. And I think we could very well do that, looking at it technically. As you can see, silver as well is doing very well. We're now at 1709, up 6.5. We've broken that triangle. The gold-silver ratio, as you can see, is doing really well for the precious metals. I know it's going down, but that's what we need. We need silver to outperform. So the gold-silver ratio is just the price of gold divided by the price of silver. So if the price of silver goes up faster than the price of gold, that ratio goes down. And as you can see, we've broken the head and shoulder formation when we've broken the neckline. So yeah, the range in silver overnight has been 1693 to 1715. So I didn't see that. It's probably asleep. It broke through 17. It looks like maybe the cartel tried to knock it down, but it's come right back up. So that's a good sign. Stock markets. Well, the Dow is down 47 points, 25,151. That's 0.18%. S&P down 5, 2769. Same percentage down as the Dow. The Nasdaq is down 18 or of 0.25%, 7183. That's the Nasdaq 100 future. Currencies. The pound is a little stronger, up 20 pips at 133.95 against the dollar. The euro back above 118, 118.12, up 0.2%. And the yen, dollar is down against the yen, 1/3%. We're back below 110, it's at 109.95. Crude oil is at 66.54. So it's rebounded off the recent lows, crude oil. The 10-year yield, let's have a look. Yesterday it spiked up a little bit, almost towards 3% after the Fed FOMC announcement. Now it's at 2.95, so still below that 3% level. So The Law by Frederick Bastiat. So I'll put a link below if you want to buy it. There's free PDF. I'll put a link to Amazon and also the Mises Institute. I really recommend that people have this book. I've talked about this book before. It's one of my favorites. As I'm getting more newer and newer subscribers, yesterday in the live stream, one of the viewers asked, "Can you do a video with a list of your 10 favorite books?" And I told him I've done one already for him to search it. I will probably actually, I'm thinking of maybe doing a live stream soon, just talk about my favorite books. That would be quite interesting. Let me know if that's something that interests you, a live stream like that. And you can ask questions. I'll talk about the book. You can ask questions about it. So this is what he said. It is impossible to introduce into society a greater change and a greater evil than this, the conversion of the law into an instrument of plunder. Basically, he says that the law is actually a natural thing. It came before legislators, and that it's been perverted. And what does he think the law is? Well, I'll quote from from page 2 here. What is the law? And he says, "What then is law? It is the collective organization of the individual right to lawful defense." Individual, not the state's rights. And he goes on to say, each of us has a natural right from God. Some people might say, oh, there's no God, but let's say from the Creator, whoever he is. I'm not saying he's a man in the sky, but each of us has a natural right from God to defend his person, his liberty, and his property. These are the 3 basic requirements of life. So life, liberty, and property. And the preservation of any one of them is completely dependent upon the preservation of the other 2. So without one or the other, you can't have any of them. For what are our faculties but the extension of our individuality? And what is property but an extension of our faculties, right? So that's how he's basically saying that the law has been perverted, and it has, by the state. And yeah, so page 4 he says, but unfortunately law by no means confines itself to its proper functions, and when it has exceeded its proper function, it has not done so merely in some inconsequential and debatable matters. The law has gone further than this. It has acted in direct opposition to its own purpose. The law has been used to destroy its objective. It has been applied to annihilating the justice that it was supposed to maintain, to limiting and destroying rights which its real purpose was to respect. The law has placed the collective force at the disposal of the unscrupulous, the elitist, the globalist, people who think they're better than everyone else, without risk, to exploit the person, liberty, and the property of others. So is it any wonder that fiat money, they say it's legal tender, but it's rubbish. It's a perversion of the law, as he uses the term legal plunder. They use it to attack our life, our liberty, and our property. They do that through taxation, through statutes, and the other interesting, they call it here, his most memorable epigram is this one, and I read it. It's my favorite. It says, "The state is that great fiction by which everyone tries to live at the expense of everyone else." So that he calls a fatal tendency of mankind. And what is the fatal tendency of mankind? Well, I'll read from it. It says, "Self-preservation and self-development are common aspirations among all people. And if everyone enjoyed the unrestricted use of his faculties or hers, and the free disposition of the fruits of his labor or hers," well, this was written in 1850. "Social progress would be ceaseless, uninterrupted, unfailing. But there's also another tendency that is common among people. When they can, they wish to live and prosper at the expense of others." And he goes on to say, "This is no rash accusation, nor does it come from a gloomy and uncharitable spirit. The annals of history bear witness to the truth of it. The incessant wars, mass migrations, religious persecutions, universal slavery, dishonesty in commerce, and monopolies. This fatal desire has its origins in the very nature of man, in that primitive, universal, and insuppressible instinct that impels him to satisfy his desires with the least possible pain. So there you go. That's why it's so easy to convince the masses and a lot of people that they need the state to look after them, because the state looking after them means they don't have to do anything. And they pit people against people. They say, oh, we need to help you because so-and-so has done this and that's unfair, so we need to take it from them. So that's why we need it. It's all up to the individual, and we need to get away from this philosophy that some other people owe us anything. Nobody owes us anything. We just owe it to ourselves to do things for ourselves and be self-sufficient. And of course, the family is important as well. Of course, you do stuff for your family, and that's why the statists hate the family. That's why they try to destroy it. So yeah, fiat money is the big instrument of the statist. I mean, Alan Greenspan in his essay Golden Economic Freedom talks about it. How without honest money and the rule of law, the real rule of law, not the perversion, we wouldn't have all the debt that we have these days. We wouldn't have all these zombie banks. He ends the book by saying, let us now try liberty. But, you know, this was written in 1850 and people haven't, you know, he was from France, Frederick Bastiat. I think he's more famous outside of France than he is in France. And it's a shame because France has become such a socialist, you know, place. The French are really into government. They have the policy of dirigism, to direct everything, that the government needs to direct everything. A lot of their industry is government owned. So it'd be nice if they could go back and read Frederick Bastiat. I'm sure they don't in the schools. So there you go. Fiat money, instrument of plunder. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share it far and wide. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. You can also follow me on Steemit, DTube, and on Twitter. And I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.